Good day, senior high school learners. I know you will have a great day ahead. Welcome to your reading and writing skills subject, quarter 2 or 4, week 2. For our today's discussion, we will discuss what is counterclaim, what are the steps in writing counterclaim. I will also give you tips in writing counterclaim, and you have some activities that you need to do. So before we start, I want you to have this with you, your learning activity sheets in reading and writing skills for quarter 2 or 4, week 2. Of course, I hope you have also your paper and pen. Our learning competency is formulating counterclaims in response to claims made in a text read. Now, let us identify what is counterclaim. According to Merriam-Webster, counterclaim is a claim brought by a defendant against a plaintiff in a legal action, an opposing claim. In order to make a counterclaim, the reader should be a critical thinker. It is not just enough to identify the claims and assertions. Readers should have the ability to analyze an argument. Understanding the text deeply is very essential to provide a counterclaim. To write a counterclaim, a reader should learn to evaluate the basis such as the evidence and facts provided. Just always remember that when you are writing counterclaim, it means you are opposing the claim. So, as a writer of counterclaim, you should be ready in identifying what are the strengths and weaknesses of the claim. Okay? So, as a writer, you should be good in analyzing and studying the facts and evidences provided by the claimant. Okay? So, in that way, you can write your counterclaim. Now, let us find out how to formulate counterclaims. According to L. Comblus, these are the things to consider when writing your counterclaim. You are addressing the opposite side of the argument, and you are explaining why the point of view presented is wrong. These are the things to do in writing the counterclaim. Okay, let's start with number 1. Read and understand first the presented claim and the evidence provided. Of course, when you are writing counterclaim, you have to know first the claim and the evidences of the claimant, okay, or the writer. So the first thing you have to do is, of course, read the article or the claims of the writer. And then you have to understand it, why the writer is claiming for that. And then you have to find out what are his or her evidences that supports his or her claim. Let us proceed to number 2. Identify the loopholes or ambiguities in claim presented. So, as a writer of counterclaim, you have read the claim, you have also understand the claim and the evidences. Now, what you have to do is find out what are the loopholes on the claim, or what are the ambiguities on the claim. Okay? Because you have to know how will you attack the claim in order to write your counterclaim. You have to know what are the problems in the claim, what are the weaknesses of the claim. Let us move to number 3. After reading, analyzing, and identifying the ambiguities or loopholes, you may now write your first sentence stating the reasons of the claim. Of course, you're done reading it, you're done analyzing, you're done identifying the ambiguities and loopholes of the claim. So what you have to do as writer of counterclaims, you may now start writing your first sentence. What you will write in your first sentence, you have to state the reasons of the claim. Because you have identified it. What are the reasons of the claim? You will now, the first thing to do as counterclaim writers is to state the reasons of the claim. Write the reasons of the claimant. Okay, the next step is write your observations, identify the mistakes or loopholes you found from the claim, and then state your reason why you don't agree with the claims. You have written the reason of the claim. What you need to do now as a writer of counterclaim is to write your observations. The first thing to do is you have to identify first what are the mistakes and the loopholes that you have found from the claim. After identifying the mistakes and loopholes, now you have to state your reason. You have to explain your part, why you don't agree with the claims. Because in that way, you are doing the counterclaim. You have to make sure that the reader will believe on you, not on the claim of the claimant. And the last step is provide supporting evidence on your counterclaim. Explain your side and why your claim are important than the other side. Of course, it is important that your claim as a counterclaim should have evidence because this evidence will strengthen your claim. Remember, if you are doing a counterclaim without evidence, your counterclaim will be weak. So after providing your evidences to support your counterclaim, explain it to your reader. Explain why your claim are important than the other side. Because this would give a brighter understanding to your reader why your claim is much better than the claim of the other side. After knowing the steps in formulating counterclaim, let us now move the tips that will help you in formulating counterclaim. Let's start with number 1. Identify the major points which you can disagree with the author. Okay, so what you have to do is identify what are the major points. You have read the article of the claim, you have identified what are the claims, what are the evidences, you have identified what are the problems from the claim. Of course, you should know how to identify what are the major points that you disagree with the author. Now let us move to the next tip. Identify the best argument and what are their claims to defend their position. Yes, of course, as a writer of the counterclaim, you have to know what is the best argument, what is the strength of the claim, and what are the evidences of this claim, okay, that they use to defend their position. Because, of course, as a counterclaim writer, you should know how to defend yourself also. You should know how to defend your claim also. But before you can defend your claim, you have to know first what is the strength of the claim and also what is the weakness of the claim in order for you to be ready to defend also yourself. And the next tip is identify their advantages on their side. As a counterclaim writer, of course, you have to know what are their advantages. Because, of course, as a counterclaim writer, when you know the advantages of the claim, you can also prepare yourself in order to destroy the advantages of the claim, to make it weakness, so that you can prepare your answers to that advantages. The next tip is identify the weaknesses of your claims and find out if this is hidden expectations. Of course, it is very important that as a counterclaim writers, you have to identify the weaknesses of the claim, because on that way you can attack the claim in order to destroy the claim, for you to make sure that your counterclaim is much better than the claim. And you have also to know if these weaknesses are hidden expectations of the claimant, because you can take advantage to these weaknesses if you know everything about their weaknesses in their claim. And last but not the least, identify the lines from the text that best support your counterclaim. Of course, as a counterclaim writer, you can find out any lines from the text that can support your counterclaim, because if you can take any claim that could support your counterclaim, that is a strength for you as a counterclaim writer. Let us look at this example. We have the opinion, or you can consider as the claim. The claim is yes to banning of Facebook in the Philippines. And the counterclaims are, number one, as social media capital of the world, which is the Philippines, it would be difficult to the Filipinos because Facebook is useful to us, especially at this pandemic. Yes, we all know that we Filipinos are one of the most users of social media, and especially Facebook. And it is very difficult for us Filipinos to ban Facebook because it's very useful, especially in the time of pandemic when we are in the quarantine time. Facebook is one of our way to have leisure, to ease the homesick that we experience in the time of pandemic. That is why the counterclaim here explains the usefulness of Facebook. As a counterclaim writer, it only suggests that it is not possible to ban the Facebook in our country because of its useful. Another answer of the counterclaim: Facebook is used as entertainment of the Filipinos, where they could express their feelings, and it is used as a mode of communication. So in the second counterclaims provided, it is said here that Facebook is used as entertainment, and it is a way of expressing our feelings and used as a mode of communication. So in that way, we all know how important is Facebook. So it is really impossible to ban Facebook because in the lives of Filipinos, it is very useful, especially in mode of communication. Actually, at this day, we are much using chatting, messenger, rather than texting. Okay. I have here another example. The subject or the topic is all about learning modalities. And the claim is like this: every school has its own learning continuity plan for this new normal. Different modalities were provided by the Department of Education to be chosen and implemented by the school. Especially in the public schools, online distance learning, or ODL, is one of the modalities chosen by some schools because it was seen to be the safest. It is also because parents and learners won't go to school and get the module. All transactions are almost done through online, such as submission of outputs and requirements. For those who had experienced online learning, they said that it was much better than modular learning because they were able to understand the lessons well, and teachers were able to discuss the lessons well. Learners can virtually ask questions and clarification about the topic taught. One of the advantages of ODL: learners are able to search for the topic on internet so that they could easily understand the topic. ODL for them is somewhat enjoyable and fun because they are able to meet and talk to their classmates virtually. It is a better modality than other modalities provided by the DepEd. Let us now read the counterclaim. It goes like this: if online distance learning will be implemented in school, many learners will be left behind, and that is not the DepEd's goal. ODL is very expensive, and not all parents are capable of buying those expensive gadgets and internet fees. Learners in the families of low income would spend their money for food rather than spending it for the gadgets needed by their children. Besides from it is expensive, it is not also safe for the learners to spend too much time in computer or cell phones. The American Academy of Pediatrics and World Health Organization provided screen time for the learners ranging from 1 to 4 hours only a day. If the learner was not guided properly, there is a possibility that he or she spends too much time in using computer or cell phone, which is not healthy to his or her eyes. Radiation of gadgets may affect their health. With this, therefore, I suggest that ODL shouldn't be supported. Instead, schools should use printed modules where learners have their free time to choose when to answer it. Here is the explanation. In this example of counterclaim, the writer identified the major points that he or she disagreed, such as the depth and goals of no learner will be left behind. She or he pointed out also that gadgets are expensive and also the internet fees. These are just some of the 2 points that the counterclaim elaborated. According to the claim, ODL is the safest, but the counterclaim proves that ODL is not also safe because there is limit in screen according to the American Academy of Pediatrics. In this explanation, the counterclaim defended his or her side against the claim. We're done with our discussion. I hope everything is clear. If you have questions, you may go back to the video and study it again. And before we proceed to our activities, let us read the general directions. First, you have to read carefully the directions indicated in the following activities. Provide what is needed or asked in each item. And last but not the least, avoid erasures. For any inquiries or clarification about the lesson, please contact your English teachers. Please be ready. There are 4 activities in your last. Please prepare your ballpen and paper to answer it. For activity A, fill out the box by providing the needed information based on the written claim. Read and understand the claim. So this is the claim. Bottled water in school is needed by the learners because it is more convenient to use rather than bringing their own water container. Bottled water is lighter to bring than the water container. Learners can throw it in the trash can after drinking the water. It is more comfortable than the water container. Banning of bottled water in school is the best way to reduce the plastics. Too much consumption of bottled water causes too much garbage. Plastics can take a lot of years to decay, and it's not safe for our environment. Recycling is one way to reduce the use of plastic bottles, but it doesn't mean it lessens the problem because the production is still going on. In school, plastic bottles are found anywhere. Most of the learners buy bottled water rather than bringing their own water containers. Provision of free drinking water and using of our own water container is the best way to save our school from these plastics. They can refill the container with water, and it's much cheaper and environmental friendly rather than buying bottled water from time to time. In this way, learners are not only saving our environment, but also saving their money. If you are not able to follow the readings, you may go back to the video before you answer this activity. So this is your activity. You have to answer the following questions. What is the claim? What are the reasons of the claim? What is the counterclaim? And what are the evidences of the counterclaim? I will give you 30 seconds to answer this. Your timer starts now. If you think the time is not enough to finish answering the questions, you may pause this video and finish your activity. Once you're done answering your activity, you may now continue the video. Let us now check your answers. In number 1, what is the claim? And this is the answer. Bottled water in school is needed by the learners because it is more convenient to use rather than bringing their own water container. Please check your own answer. Let us now find out what are the reasons of the claim. And these are the reasons. Bottled water is lighter to bring than the water container. Learners can throw it in the trash can after drinking the water, and it is more comfortable than the water container. And what is the counterclaim? This is the answer. Banning of the bottled water in school is the best way to reduce the plastics. Too much consumption of bottled water causes too much garbage. Please check your answer if this is your answer. And what are the evidences of the counterclaim? These are the answers. Plastics takes a lot of years to decay and it is not safe for our environment. And recycling is one way to reduce the use of plastic bottles, but it doesn't mean it lessens the problem because the production is still going on. Please check your answer. And these are the other evidences. In school, plastic bottles are found anywhere. Most of the learners buy bottled water rather than bringing their own water container. Number 4, provision of free drinking water and using of own water container is the best way to save our school from these plastics. And number 5, they can refill the container with water and it is much cheaper and environmental friendly rather than buying bottled water from time to time. In this way, learners are not only saving our environment but also saving their money. So please check your answer if these are also your evidences. I know you got a lot of correct answers in your previous activity. Let us now move to activity B. Provide 2 counterclaims to the following opinions. Write your answers on the box. You may write your answers on your module or you can use a sheet of paper. Okay? So we have here 1 and 2. You have 30 seconds to finish it. Time is up, but if you think you're not done and the time is not enough, you may pause this and continue answering the activity. Once you're done, you may move to the next video. Let's continue with another 3 items for this activity. You still have 30 seconds. Once again, if you think the time is not enough, you may pause the video and finish answering the activity. Once you're done, you may move to the next video. Let us now check your answers. Actually, these are just possible answers. There are different answers that may be acceptable as a counterclaim, and the judgment will leave it to your teacher. But if your answers are ideally close to these counterclaims, you may consider that your answers are correct. Okay? You may refer to your learning activity sheets at the back in the answer key. All the answers are provided there. And these are the possible answers for item number 3, 4, and 5. You may also look at your learning activity sheets or module in the answer key. You may find these answers. I know you got a lot of correct answer in activity B. Let us now proceed to activity C. Provide your counterclaim to the given reason of the claim. Provide support to your counterclaim. Write your answer on the box or you may use another sheet of paper. I'll give you 30 seconds to answer the number 1 and 2. Time is up. If you think the time is not enough to finish answering the number 1 and 2, you may pause this video and finish your answer. You may now continue answering number 3, 4, and 5. I will still give you 30 seconds to answer. Again, if you think the time is not enough, you have your time to finish answering the activity by pausing this video. I know you are done. Let us check your answers. These are the possible answers, but if you think your answer is close to this, you may check it. But if you think it's not close to this answer, your teacher will be the one who will check it. And these are the possible answers in number 3 and 4. And last but not the least, the answer in number 5. If you were not able to catch up with the video, actually the answer is also provided in your learning activity sheets or module in the answer key page. Just look at your module. I know you did great in answering activity C, and I know you got a lot of correct answers. Let us now move to activity D. You have to analyze the claim and write your own counterclaim. Write your answer on the space provided. You may use extra paper if the space is not enough. So the topic is borrowing of money. Let us read the claim. Maria borrowed money to her friend because she said her father was hospitalized and she badly needed the money. She borrowed to John Lee with the amount of 350,000 pesos. She said that she will pay her every month for 3 years. Besides from John Lee, she also borrowed money to Norlida with the amount of 50,000 pesos, and she asked her to be her guarantor in the bank, and she borrowed the amount of 150,000 pesos. For a year, she pays her debt to her friends every month. But after a year, she failed to pay, and without the knowledge of her friends, she applied to go to abroad. Until the time came, they found out that Maria went abroad and left them without paying. Journally and Norlida went to the mother of Maria and tried to settle things out. But her mother said that it is not her responsibility to pay the debt of her daughter. If they want to file a case, they can file a case against her daughter. If you were not able to follow the readings, you may go back to the video. And if you're done, you may now write your counterclaim after reading the claim. Take your time. Once you're done writing your counterclaim, you may proceed to the video. I know you did well in your activity. Let us now move to the reflections. First, you have to reflect by answering the questions meaningfully. Next, write your answer in complete sentence, and then write your answer in a sheet of paper. These are the questions you need to answer in your reflection. Number 1, how important is counterclaim in your everyday life? Number 2, how will you use counterclaim in your everyday life? Number 3, cite 3 real-life situations where counterclaim is applicable and useful. And these are the references. I know you learned a lot in our lesson for today. Thank you so much, and always remember you have to stay safe. Goodbye!